Welcome into day 2 of our tutorial on FL Studio. A melody, chords, and a bass line are very common in many genres of music. With this, we're gonna go ahead and just jump right in. Go ahead and open FL Studio. If you're trying to create a new project, go and click File, New from Template, go to Minimal, and then Basic with Limiter. Don't worry about exactly what that means, but it's the simplest and it allows the most versatility because, hey, it's empty. All right, we've got this going. I'm just gonna resave this as first project. I'm awesome. Now, if you just wanted to open your file, it would either show up on your recent projects over here, or you just click open and it will pop up the folder where your projects are. So a lot of people have different methods of creating this part of the song, getting the song started, but I decided to just go in the order of chords, melody, and then bass line. So first we're gonna cover like what chords are. For our purposes, I'll simplify it like this. Chords are basically 3 notes that play together at the same time, and they sound good together. Let's go ahead and open that channel rack. First, we're gonna click this plus button, and we're gonna go to FL keys. You may have to do a little searching for it. I've added some other plugins in here, so the arrangement may not be exactly the same for you. And you'll see this fun little guy pop up. Don't worry about what he's doing. We can just X out of him. We've got an instrument, but we got nothing going on here. So let's go ahead and right click on the FL keys. And what we're gonna do is left click on the piano roll. Now it pulls up the piano roll here. You can always just do this to full screen it. There are a few basic things to know about music theory. There are 8 notes in a scale, and a scale is basically one set of the 8 notes. After that, it just repeats at a higher pitch or a lower pitch. So you've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Don't worry about the black notes right now. We're just going to be working in all white keys, also known as C major. So in order to make this a little easier, where you guys don't have to guess at the notes. In order to get the notes to show up here, I just clicked on the caret here, went to view, and then went to key labels, and then clicked all notes. Note grid highlights, we want that. So note grid highlights, the lighter colored ones or lines here are what's actually part of the scale. So the notes that are gonna sound the best together and sound like they're best in key. I hope that makes sense. Now we're just gonna do some basics with navigation here. You can move up and down using this scroll wheel over here, and then you can move to the right or to the left with this fun little bar up here. This line in this corner, you can click and drag up and down to zoom in and out. All right, so now that we've got that covered, let's go ahead and jump in to doing this. Go ahead and click the paintbrush. Let's go through and create a very common chord sequence here. We're just gonna click on that very first point here. Just do a C, an E, and a G. And again, notice how they line up with the brighter colored lines. You see how this little double-edged arrow comes up? We can drag this out and drag it back in. Now this is gonna count as one measure, so to speak. So if just go scooch this down for a little bit. One measure is just gonna be one of the, like this box right here. Like boom, and then this is the second measure and the third measure. So whatever you make in here, once we put it into the playlist, it's gonna line up with what's on the playlist. Now, in order to select, we're just gonna hold Control, press Control, and then just drag it. With your click and drag with the, is that the left side? Yeah, that's the left side. Click and drag, and boom, when it's red, that means it's selected. So you can move all 3 of these babies all together. And what that means is that we can take the arrow and pull it out all the way to the thick line. Here's what we have so far. Nice. We're gonna want to bring this out all the way to from the 1 to 2. We're gonna make a G major chord, I'm sorry. So G, you can always just scooch it over. If you press and hold down the middle wheel, you can just scooch it like this. We've got G, B, and D. Just kind of follow me at this point, even if your music theory isn't 100% there yet. Here's what we got. All right, is it starting to sound a little familiar at this point? Now this is the cool sounding chord. One of my favorite chords, the minor chord here. And then the final one we're gonna use for this tutorial is the F major chord. Boom. So now we'll go all the way back to the beginning here, and then you can press space to pause or play. And then we want to make sure that it pretty much always ends up on the lines here. That's an indicator that it will be easier for us to place on the playlist. If you are having a hard time getting the notes to snap to the thick lines or anything like that, you can always go here. You can make it to a bar where you could only literally do the thick lines, or you can make it even smaller where you have more options. I'd recommend just keeping it at a quarter beat for now. It's good enough. Nice. So we have our chords. Awesome. Great job. If you haven't done this yet, make sure you go ahead and click Control S. This is to save it. Let's go ahead and move on to the melody. So what exactly is the melody? We'll simplify it to this. It's the catchy part of the song that you hear. It's often higher pitched, and it often has lyrics if you're listening to a pop song. We're gonna close out of our piano roll for now. Now, we're going to just right click and click clone. This basically means duplicate the instrument. Boom, this pops right back up again, and close out of that. Now we're just gonna rename this. If you have one of these, hold on, let me reopen it. You can just use your middle mouse click or thingy to do that, and this pops up. And then we're just gonna rename this one to piano chords. And then we'll rename this one to piano melody. If you don't have the middle button or something, you can right click and click this button, rename color and icon, and you have the exact same capabilities. Now we're going to right click and open the piano roll again, but this time we're going to do something a little more special here. Let's go ahead and make this less of a full screen. And then what I like to do to keep it on top is to press this little caret here and make it detached. Here it is not detached. When we click away from it, it just goes to the back. But, pull it back up. If we click this and then we click detached, we can click around and the screen stays on top. That works with pretty much any screen on here. I think it's very useful, and you can drag it out if you need to and you have multiple screens. Cool. Now we can see here at the top, it says piano roll, piano melody. This indicates that we are on the piano melody side. Now you see these light colored notes? This shows the notes we made in our piano chords. Boom. Now we're just gonna go back to our piano melody there. A lot of times I like to just sing it out. I don't know if you guys want to witness that, but I find that singing it out and then just following the notes based on that is very useful. We can also use our keyboard to play some notes if we don't want to just manually create them here. And if you already kind of have a rhythm in your head, if you don't have a MIDI keyboard, this is the second best thing. And you see how the notes light up here as they're played. On a QWERTY keyboard, the Q is the C, T-U-W-E-R-T-Y-U-I. Yeah. If you guys want some help just staying on beat, I like to click the metronome button up here. It looks like a ring. A metronome is basically a ticking clock that makes a sound whenever a beat is supposed to happen, like this. And go ahead and you're going to want to click the countdown before recording, so it gives you a chance to get your hands on the keyboard and mentally prepare yourself. All right, here we go. Click that record button, and then we're going to hit the play button. Okay, let's play that back. Make sure before you do a playback, you press the red record button so it's not like super red on the outsides anymore. Otherwise, it's going to play over it like. See, it's basically called overwriting. So no problem. In order to undo, just do a Control Z. And booyah, there we are. Let's play this back properly. Okay, all right, that sounds like pretty darn offbeat. So, do you guys see here how it's a little off and it's not quite lining up with the beginning part of that here? So, all we're gonna do, we're gonna just select the whole thing by doing a Control A, and then we're gonna zoom in with that Control scroll wheel if you have one. Or you can just scooch it over to the left a little bit without even needing to zoom in. And then just do that. And then in order to deselect and just go back to normal, just do a Control D. Booyah! Let's see how that sounds. Okay, that's a little better, but it does sound a little bit off. So if you want it like to be super perfect, all you're gonna need to do is just click Control Q. And what this does is called quantize, but basically it just lines it up with the little lines on here. So based on wherever you have this, that's where your notes are gonna line up here. Let's play this back one more time and see how it sounds. And if you don't like how your melody sounds, you can always just go through and do the fun little thingamabobs with this, shortening it, scooching it over, scooching it down. Okay, nice. Now we've got a melody and we've got our chords. Make sure you Control S. We're trying to save that. Now let's move on to the bass. So what exactly is the bass? For our purposes, the bass is what holds the instruments together and helps to emphasize the main chord notes. It gives the song that final punch that you often hear. The bass might be the more simpler part of this. We're just gonna X out of this. We're gonna go back to the channel rack. And then we are going to do this exact same thing here. We're just gonna right click and then click clone for another FL key situation. And don't worry, we'll go into picking sounds and making it actually sound like a song a little later. But right now we're trying to get the basics of actually getting the song portion down. All right, we're gonna do the exact same thing, either middle click or right click and click the renamed color and icon. And then we're just gonna rename this to piano bass. Right click, piano roll, booyah. Now we can see the chords and our notes from our melody are here also. We can't really see the difference between the two, but they're here. We actually don't even need this right now. In between the words here and these little fun buttons over here, or the piano rolls over here, there are these little gray rectangles that turn green when you click them. Go ahead and click the one that's for the piano chords. And then what we're gonna do is Control C. That will copy it. And then we're gonna click the rectangle and make it turn green for the piano bass. And then we're gonna Control V that. What that does, it pastes whatever we put down in the piano chords into the bass. Now what we're gonna do, we're just gonna click once on the actual green notes here. Doesn't matter where you click as long as it's under the piano bass. And boom, now that they're showing up in the piano roll here. Now all we need to do is just keep the bottom notes here. So in order to delete a note, we're just gonna right click and boom, it got rid of the G. Do that same thing with all of these here. Just right click on them. We just want the bottom ones, so this is the final result. We want it so that we can only hear the piano bass right now. So these little green filled circles here, these indicate that these instruments are not muted. They're hearable and they're playable. So what we want to do, we want these off. Now we could either go through them manually and just do it which can get tedious when you have a whole bunch of instruments eventually. Or what I like to do is just hold Control and then just click on the one I want to be the only one that I hear, the solo instrument, if you will. So we'll just do that one more time. If you do that one more time, you can hear all the instruments again, and then we'll just do that again. So now we can only hear the bass. Now let's go ahead and press play to see what we've got. You don't have to have the piano roll open in order to hear it. Okay, all right, I like it so far. Now we're gonna turn the rest of these back on. Now let's hear it all together. Okay, that's great and all, but we don't hear much of a bass right now. It's really colliding with the chords, so because it's the same instrument and the same notes. So what we're gonna do is we just need to bring down those notes a little bit so that you can actually hear the bump. I'll show you. All you're gonna need to do is just hold Control. Control is gonna be your best friend in this. You can Control and then click the down button. That will bring it down 1 octave, which is 8 notes, or 1 set of the notes like we were talking about earlier. Now let's try it again. See, doesn't that make that like so much fuller? Now let's just hear it without the bass. See, once you have it, you're like, nah man, when it's not there, I'm missing something. All right. Now that we have that, go ahead and click Control S. File and save is also another option. And boom! Guys, you've got like your first pieces of a song going on here. You guys are really like killing it. Tomorrow we'll go more into the drum section, and then that's what's gonna give us the groove. So, with all of that being said, thank you, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Go ahead, enjoy yourselves.